All right. I think we're alive. I think everything is good. Okay. Seeing it right now. Yes, it is. All right. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back here to our channel. Uh, Very kind of like an interesting topic tonight, and we're going to be sharing our perspectives up here. Talking about do you blame the twin flame? We didn't say what though. And talking about this, catching up some a lot of the stuff that goes on, that whatever it is within going on through your journey or going on to your life or going on into however it is, using the excuse and to blame the twin flame as a personality or counterpart, if you wish, or using or blaming the twin flame's journey and so on. The twin flame journey is the person has nothing to do with your actions. And me and Paulina, we're going to be sharing a little bit the light on this, how we are dealing with similar situations is in there. And I'm going to give the mic to Paulina. Later on, I'm going to read you one comment up here. And we're going to
Mhm.
be diving in. All right, guys?
Yeah, probably there will be some nice realization. Hi, Grande. Good to see you here. Yeah, we've been talking because it looks like I've already several times I mentioned to people that the moment you get into separation phase, this is your own journey, and whatever your life will be bringing to you in terms of experiences, whether or bad or good, they are necessary. The moment you get ignited, you're entering this new path. And of course, you have choices. You can try to escape from that. You can try to delay the progress. Along the journey, you will realize that it doesn't make sense because you try to fight with something that is a little bit stronger than your own will. At least that's my perspective for now. So I think just being friends with all the changes that are starting happening to you. And I think people are having tendencies just to look outside, and if some things are not going the way they want it, or if things are getting uncomfortable, or there are some complications, they like to look for excuses like what caused that. And try to, of course, like they will start to look at other people, how they are connected to when it happened. Of course, like it's happened when you get connected to your twin, but it doesn't mean that that's their fault. What happened after that, because they are just the vessels. It's just we are matched up with the current vibrational level. And I don't believe that anyone really wishes um, to cause anything bad towards each other, in those kinds of connections. It just happens that all those ignitions are causing all these snowstorms and that come after that. So I think that's the first point I wanted to start, is just really the whole journey teaches you not to find guilt or guilty people, or not to blame each other, and just see these things from this bigger picture, that we are just elements of the whole big story.
Yeah. Here is what we are talking about. The twin flame journey is basically to bring this unhealed patterns that could be a mental, psychological, to bring these unhealed emotions, to bring these fears, to bring everything out on the surface. So the twin flames journey is about you to begin acting of this uh, power given it to you as a twin flame, not to act in the old way of the based of the fears of the traumas, and then you begin and you acting differently. The reason about this is I'm going to be reaching you something that I got in the messengers today, and I got permissions, but not to use the person's name. So 3 years of silence from the TF. A third party contacted me a few days ago in regard to them, blaming me for everything that had gone in their life. 3 years. And you blame somebody that something's wrong with you in your life. Well, why would you go and blame the twin flame? What is the twin flame has to do with anything then? You're creating actions, you're creating things, you act in a certain position, certain situations, and so on in your life. And here is what the people don't get it about the twin flames. The twin flame makes the life better. They make you to look at it inside of it, to heal from within, not to act on this lower vibe energies, not in acting of your limitations, of not to acting of your uh, lower self-esteem or this wounded centered personality of the wounds, because your center, when it goes into the wounds, you're acting on the base of the wounds. The journey itself is teaching you to go up and up and up. That is the purpose. But you're gonna be have to facing your limitations. You gotta facing everything in there. But to blame your twin flame for your life, that what's going on in your life, your twin flame has nothing to do with your life. Personality, you are responsible for your life. And when the things are rising up as the situations, or if your twin flame acting on the base of the wounds, take this guy here, for example, and there I'm looking for a thing within me. I'm looking at my own wounded patterns. I don't tell Paulina, hey, darling, it's just, uh, right? Or goes in there, it's like, you know what? And that's it. Put this in the scrap bin. No, I'm looking at me. Why I'm want to be thinking about this? Why I'm acting from these ones? Those are unhealed patterns in there. And then Paulina, when we're talking about it, I'm like, every time when this rolls up, I'm just like, darling, let me get my boxing gloves. And she knows about that. I'm going to be doing some inner work on me, right? And this is what we're talking about here. If you're going out there and you talking about that this twin flame journey is toxic, if you go out there and you looking at in these positions that the twin flames journey is a blah blah and so on and so on and so on, it doesn't work, it's all garbage and so on and so on, you haven't begin to become a twin flame. Even you should not consider in there that call yourself a twin flame until you don't reacting and acting, putting those actions in you to replace that system from within yourself, acting on the wounds, the fears, limitations, and acting as a twin flame that is in here that has this 5D energy that it needs to perform in the 3D. Ooh, then you're gonna have a lot of things inside of it. But the blame, the guilt, the shame, and so on, those are totally different situations. Those could be psychological disorders, problems, and so on. Those could be a lot of other things. But blaming the twin flame, or even the worst in there, demanding from your twin flame things because your life doesn't go well. You have nothing to live on it, and asking for some other things from your twin flame. Your twin flame has nothing to do with your life, your personal life. It's your personal life. It doesn't matter what the situations is in there for it. And I want to say hi to Irina. Hi, Grande, Laura. Hi, Karen. Thank you for glad to have you here, all of you. If you guys have so many questions in there, please don't hesitate to ask. Uh, why did the other relationship don't feel on that path? Uh, all relationships, they're leading to a certain path, but the path, it's a path. All you have to do is walk away, walk on that path, Irina. But the twin flame has one thing. It's mirroring your wounds inside of you. It's pushing your buttons inside of you to get better in your life. Now, would you get better? Would you do that in a work? Your twin flame has nothing to do with that. They may have something to do and a purpose when you do your work and they are next to you. Yes, they support you. You should be actually should be very thankful about this. But if you're not doing your work, complaining, whining, and moaning, and guilt tripping, and so on. It has nothing to do with your twin flame, the twin flame concept, or the twin flame journey itself, and with this. So, yeah. But I'll pass the mic into Paulina. Probably she has something to add on this.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me the situation that, at the beginning people like to blame their parents for whatever happened in their life because they caused their traumas. That was a bad upbringing, there was not enough care, there was abandonment and all of this. But you see, when you are getting connected with the twin, they are very good in just showing you those wounds. And maybe sometimes, maybe you didn't have a chance to express your wounds, or maybe you haven't didn't have a chance to express your pain related to some of the experiences from the past that you experienced from your parents. Or you I think many people have issues with just blaming their parents, their because they didn't teach me properly, they were not showing me enough care. And I can see how for many people this is a problem to overcome. They go to psychologists, they go to all those therapies, and they still have those wounds towards someone from the past, mostly to their family. But I think sometimes if people get this misunderstood, they will be trying to project those wounds on someone completely different. It's not their fault, it's not their they are not relevant. They are just showing you where you have to heal yourself, because they are very good in triggering the proper situations so those wounds come up. But I think it really takes a lot of taking responsibility for your own healing and for your own actions. And people just like to jump from one person to another, just trying to find a bad one, try to find a guilty one. Who made me feel this way, or who made me my life to go this way, instead of trying to look for solutions, because we are not choosing our paths, but we can just try to choose what are we gonna to do with that right now at this moment. But the problem is that still people are having this sense of being in this twin flame connection, and whatever happens in my life, I know I have to tackle it, somehow overcome it with my twin, which is not true. It's just really you have to stop caring about what happens in their lives, the same way as I think it goes both ways, you see, because the person who asked the question, they had an issue that because someone from the past, from years back, suddenly remembered about themselves, and they start to go with all this blame game and probably some names and all of this negativity, so that will be showing you, like, do you have enough self-respect to not to even be engaged in those kinds of situations? Because of course, if you're ready and if both parts are ready to have a normal conversation about whatever was happening along this 3 years period, for example, there's nothing wrong with that. But it's just really in those kinds of situations, especially when people are popping up out of nowhere after years of you doing your inner work, just be mindful not to get back to these old cycles and not to engage with this drama, because it's, as much as those connections are sacred at some point and they are orchestrated and all of that, you have to acknowledge how much work you've done, and just where are you right now, and you've done your work, and don't to take this blame, don't even allow those kinds of blaming scenarios come to you. So I think those are like both parts, right? Like, because we are talking with people who are on the both sides. Some people will have issues because they are blaming their twin on my twin is not doing the work. But they can have a scenario that someone is attacking them because, oh, what did you do to my life? My life went to crap because of you. So I wouldn't respect those kinds of comments towards me, for example. Like, I wouldn't even bother.
Yeah, talking about this personality, because of the way that the situations are, the lives are, and so on, for the people, it's much more easier for them. They can projecting this wounds, and they can project them towards the twin flames in there. My twin flame doesn't comes in to help me. My twin flame doesn't understands me. My twin flame, it doesn't that, and so on. And in some other cases, right there, it is like you want your twin flame to heal your wounds that you have. but you don't want to heal them, and then you blame your twin flame that you cannot heal them. There is a lot of situations within this for it. Some of them are linked to this emotional traumas. Some of them actually they even go very deep in there. If you look at it in the psychology, for it, uh, at some point you go this energies inside of it. But the worst thing that you do for yourself and the journey is basically to blame the twin flame in whatever cases. It doesn't matter if you blame the twin flame on the label, the journey, the spiritual journey attached to the twin flame, the person, yourself, or even the universe itself, and so on and so on. And go look at yourself in the mirror. How would you like somebody to blame you for something that you have zero responsibility? But you can go ahead and blame somebody because they don't have zero responsibility of what you're doing within your actions. And the twin flame journey will trigger the heck out of you on that positions for it. And uh, the messages continue in there because it's involving things and so on and so on. And this is how some of the people get themselves what's called the restraint orders. But I'm not gonna go into that kind of like lower energies. But I'm talking to you if you're in a twin flames journey yourself, okay, number one, always, always, always look at what you knew. What is the reason I'm in these situations? Why I'm the reason I'm in this mud? What is that has to do with me? What is my actions that gotta be? Can I be acting from my lower self or I'm gonna be acting from my higher self? And when you begin to stop for a minute and find out the situations within yourself because you're out of balance, something comes in, something that triggers shows up, what it's not balanced within yourself, you're looking at what is the opposite way. If that is a something in there within you, you see it. If that is something that the situation is calling for, because there is going to be a situations that's going to be calling and trigger everything because your union it is based out of that your actions within the connections and when you understanding all this for it you should look at yourself and it's like what I'm doing this you expressing your deeper wound or pain and you trying to get that pain towards your counterpart where you should not you should look at it inside of you first. I mean, I'm looking at always myself. I find take my battles. I'm sharing with her, telling her what I'm dealing with, what is I'm overcoming, and from that standpoint, in there, she knows I'm doing my inner work. But it's the same thing to the case. When she's cast things in there, we talk. I'm not just like, oh, it's your issue, it's your thing. There is a certain things that I tell her, to look from within because I feel like if I point things out in there for it, she maybe take it personally. At the same time, she does that to me. It's like, you know what, there is gotta be a something we don't see. Currently, we not see some things within the fog. But most of the time, when the people don't see within the fog, what do? They find reason or something, someone to blame. This could be bullying at school. This could be your parents. This could be a bad childhood. This could be your bad teenager's life. This could be your previous relationships. But they're all connecting with that. And right now, it's rising. This shadow energy is rising within the connection that tells like, okay, heal this so your connections to get better. And when you're on a twin flame journey and you're understanding this, heal this so this can get better, guess what? You know why you're doing it this and you stop doing and acting of this trauma and drama from that you're carrying with you in your past. You're acting towards better future there. Yeah. Grande, I hear in your questions about the this satanic rituals and music and so on, but don't worry about that. It's only an energy. People who are attracted to that energy, they're gonna attract to that. People who don't attract it doesn't resonate with this. Is it means nothing. This old ways, even the people trying, they don't work. And it's gonna take more time for the people who are in charge of this music industry that they're gonna get it one way or another. Can manipulate something that for it, but it is what it is. Karen, there is no other aspect in this process. Blaming the twin, wanting him, her back, it is also the first step in a process of grief, not accepting the reality of loss. Then you cannot start the inner process of journey because you're stuck in the grief. Yes, talking about this grief in there, the grief is generally that is a love with no direction in there. People grieving for someone who's passed away. And the twin flame, though, sometimes that grief it is about the person who used to have that grief. He's alive, but he's acting like he's a dead person. And sometimes the people begin to blame, shame, and so on and so on within this. But that triggers the wound of you have not learned to let it go of things and following the path. And sometimes the catalyst can cause you this ruthless, deep wound of learning how to let it go for it. So when people are stuck in a grief, well, the worst thing is that people are stuck in a thought patterns of pain, trauma, and sometimes they don't even catch it because this is a subconscious. And in the subconscious, there is this fail-safe mechanism that it's when you come to this kind of like a similar situation or similar patterns because they're not healed in there, that fail-safe kicks in. Or if you look at it in the past, that fail-safe didn't left your memory in there. You don't even want to go back in there. You don't know what this is. So you have to take a look at it and consider it in there of what that is. But as I state in here, and we're here to support you guys for this, for it. But I'm so happy that we've been able to evolve in there. And when you look at your patterns first, you will understand the pattern of your counterpart because you're in the same thing. You're looking at these energies of yin yang, feminine, masculine, sun, moon, authority, intuitions, and so on and so on. But I talked about this before. You're gonna face the four primary energies: divine feminine, divine masculine, versus the distort masculine and distort feminine. They're both the name DM. If you pay attention on there, okay. But it's your responsibility how you're gonna put your stuff together, okay? How you gonna be able to do it? So, giving back the mic to Paulina.
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about this grief because I have a sense that it's not the grief itself. Like people, once you're able to reach this state that you really let go of the connection, that's when the grief process actually starting. Because before that, before you really accept that, the journey is not continuing and it's just you trying to live in those illusions that the separation is just how do I explain this? It's some people are in the separation process still counting that, oh, it's just a phase. It's like we are still getting back together. And it's just, I know that, I know it, I sense it. And even if nothing is going on in a physical plane, they will still be living in this illusion because it's safe. And they will be trying to explain to themselves that I know it. Like deeply, my soul is telling me this person is coming back. And he or she is not coming back. So I saw that until you're still in this process of thinking, though, oh, it's just a separation. I know we're gonna be together. You're prolonging your your healing process, actually, because you're not even seeing this solution that is not going anywhere. And the moment you can acknowledge that this relationship or connection is just not working, that's when the pain kicks in, because you really feel like you don't have control over this, and you break up from this illusion. And that's when the grieving proper grieving process is starting, because anything before that, because before you really acknowledge that, this is not working, I have to take different path, because it seems that the universe has maybe something else for me. I have some other relationships, some other connections probably aligned, but I have to let go of this ignition connection, for example. But you have to allow yourself to grieve it. So I don't personally believe in getting stuck in grief. I think if you feel stuck in the grief, that means that you didn't allow yourself to fully, experience this pain, this sense of loss, and sense of kind of losing control of the journey. That's when you surrender, right? So at least, sorry, I had to clarify that, because I felt like I feel this process a little bit different, and I feel the grief is really, it's a necessary part of this journey.
Can you learn one thing? That when that person is not with you and you have that connection since there, I spoke this many, many years ago. Hey, universe, here is your baby. I give your twin flame to the universe. It had nothing to do with it. But you let it go of this and you processing that grief. You gotta give yourself a grieving time, okay? But during that process of grieving time, what do? You put yourself together. Okay, this is like you're a kid and you play in the streets. I know that most of the modern kids don't play anymore in the streets, but I will put you back in like maybe like 50, 60, 70 years back. You play out there to the mountain and you fall off on that dusty, muddy path. And here you go. You're so muddy. You're so dusty. What do? You get up. You clean up yourself up. May cry a little bit from bruises and so on if you need to. You keep walking in the path, right? And that's what you need to do in there. But some of the kids, what do they do is there when they fall off, but it's more easier. They're waiting for someone to pick him up. They're waiting for someone to raise them, someone to for it, and so on and so on. And if you look at that pattern inside of you, it's your responsibility. But if you're falling down in there and you blaming your twin flame because you fall down and you have no connection with your twin flame whatsoever, within 3 years you have nothing. Like, come on. Not even a text message or how are you, anything like that. And you two go ahead and blame and shame and so on, or demanding whatever you're demanding in situations on it. Let's talk about you. And the journey is not, the journey actually has a lot of positive stuff that brings you to unhealed wounds. That way, you healed yourself, you become example how the people after you, they can heal their wounds. This is why the amount of the inner work that Twin Flame does is enormous. It is in a whole nother profound level, isn't there for it. But it's great that you guys are bringing it, those stuff in there. Because if you're stuck in a grief, you're stuck down there. You're stuck down in that path. You lay down somebody to pick you up. What if there's nobody there to pick you up? You have to pick yourself up. And when you pick up yourself up, you begin to develop yourself of the twin flames journey at rising up from the ashes. You're the phoenix. That's what this is there. But again, don't act from I'm laying it down on the ground, I'm on my wounds, I can't get up, and so on and so on. But act from your new understanding, act from your powers, practicing your powers. That's what it's gonna be.
Yeah, there will be balance. You can stay in this over grieving period for a long time. Like at some point, you, of course, like this is your responsibility to realize, okay, I allowed myself to experience those emotions because when you were talking, it came to me that there is a bigger picture of this. Even our emotional body, it needs to experience all the whole spectrum of emotions. So if your soul planned for you this kind of like a twin flame experience when you're supposed to experience a loss on an emotional level and be in this abandonment situation and lose all of those kinds of things just in order to experience this, because this is, I was talking that this is a very transformative process, and we are not choosing those experiences. But if you're in the twin flame journey, that means that emotional experiences will be causing you to grow on the journey. So it comes to you as this, let's call it painful experience, but there is no good and bad in this. It can help you to transform, and you will realize that once you're able to pick yourself up, as Dio was saying, after this grieving period, you're healing your abandonment issues, because normally people who are having deep abandonment issues and fears, that's what they're gonna attract, because you have to go through whatever you fear the most. That's gonna kick your butt, and that's gonna help you to awaken, really, because you will experience this, the thing that you are afraid of most, and you're proving to yourself this is not the end of the world. It's just it happened with one connection. So it, of course, it may happen in the future, because we were talking with Dio a lot of times these days. I really don't think anything for granted in this journey anymore. It really opens up your mind that there is no such thing as certainty, and all you have to do is just be ready for anything that will be coming up your way. So abandonment issues and fears of abandonment, this is a very big block in a relationship. So until you heal it, and until you're able to really go into relationship 100%, taking into account that it may happen again, like you never know, you put your trust in the connection, you put your faith, and of course that's how you build something with another person. But at the same time, you cannot forget that you've been through many many different experiences, and you proved yourself that you can survive. You're strong enough to pick yourself up in any situation that comes.
Exactly. And talking about this abandonment in there, here's what happens is when the people have these wounds in there, when they have the abandonment issues and that abandonment issue is triggered, they abandon the twin flame and then they blaming the twin flame that the twin flame is abandoning them without them realizing that the abandonment actually begins from within. You see, these blame games that you've been playing into your relationships, if he had those situations and so on, in there, of course, they have to rise on the surface. Confirmations, anybody? For it. But talking about with in yourself, when you heal it, though, when you heal it once, when you heal the wound twice, when you heal the third time, and then when you perform that into the 3D, only then you know you healed. Otherwise, that pattern is going to keep repeating itself like a loop. Could be a mind game, playing with yourself. It might be this, might be that. I don't understand it. But when you understand the wounds, the emotional, psychological, energy, whatever wounds they are, okay? Once you act totally different, you act indifferent because you already understand the whole process of this. That's how you heal. It's so easy to act from the wounds. Here, I'm the victim. There is gotta be a villain, and then there has to be a victor in there. But when you are the victim, guess what? You're not the winner. And where you're the villain, there is no victor there. But when there is a victor is in there, there is, guess what? Somebody saved the world because there is a victim and there is a villain in there. And you keep playing at that loop inside of yourself. How about you get off out of that train? Okay? Get off of that train, see how that goes. And when you get out of it, you don't have to be none of these three types. You become real. And then you don't create victims. You are not the victim. You don't blame and shame. You are not the villain. So you damage yourself and you're damaging others. And you're not the victor because there is nothing to fight. You only do one thing, you evolve. But that is a twin flame consciousness inside of you that works. Some other people don't operate from that. And this is why the public it's all about this twin flame and so on and so on and so on. A long time ago, a lot of us, when we came out as a twin flames, I'll mention a few names in here. I'm talking about Mel Wolf. I'm talking about Lindy Cowling, Brenda Terranelli. Some of you, that name is not going to even ring a bell for you. In there, uh, talking about Sherry and Lee, Marla Kelly, and so on. There is a people who popped up after that. There is so many names in there. And that's what this is the power for it. But most people, guess what? They think they're twin flame. They have these desperations. They think that you either are or you're not. Don't think. So on. And that's what is important is stop playing games, especially the blame games within yourself, but begin have responsibility for your own actions isn't there. Your twin flame has nothing to do with your actions or reactions that you do. They're yours. You're acting or reacting within a journey. Okay, that's what it's about to be straightened out within the community because a lot of people living into the trauma and the dramas in there, they don't doing things. They keep blaming the twin flame. The twin flame's got nothing for you to blame. You should be, I don't know, you should be proud of it. You should be the happiest person that these things hit you. That this twin flame journey came to your life. You should be the most excited personality. It's like, finally, I'm going to get something real done in here. I'm going to become a real person. I'm finding this real love that you're getting through that ignition. Oh, the journey is not pleasant. Nobody says it's going to be easy. Nobody says, hey, here's that cake for you. Here's your twin flame, right? You have to do something. But the worst thing to do is blame. And please, guys, stop blaming your twin flame. Look inside of you. So that's all I have. Uh, Getting here the questions for it. Romero 546. Hey guys, you're awesome. Can the lady do a punch like boxing? Can you? Thank you. Oh, it's talking about, let me tell you, Paulina has a lot of powers in there.
I keep it to
Wow.
myself. I try to keep it. There are some moments that we have to work together because
Yeah.
there wouldn't be any reason to go together in a connection if you're not supposed to work together. But
Mm.
before we move forward, I wanted just to comment on why people are trying to find those explanations. Oh, my love went to love. My life went to poop after I met my twin, and why it happens. I think that happens because people are trying to understand, trying to find the questions. They don't understand the process, and they see if their life is going south once they connected to their twin flame, they take it as something bad. They take it as like, oh my god, all these negative changes are happening to my life, like why is it happening to me? because it takes a little bit of time along the journey just to see this big picture, because those changes are coming to you to get you on the right track. So you see, I don't, at some point, I understand those people who are trying just to get an answer. It's like, okay, they have some trauma, so that's their expression, how they are trying to figure out this journey, because it's messy and it's very complicated. For some people, transition is smooth. They just break up with their partner, or maybe they get divorced. But some people go through some nasty stuff, and it's not fair. Some people have it harder, some people have it lighter. We don't choose those kinds of lessons, but I start to understand, that it can be messy when you're kind of being thrown through your life just into something completely difficult, because your whole life has to be rearranged in order to get you back on your track. So I think that's another perspective for that, right? Like it's nothing wrong. Somewhere along the process, people will be seeing this difference, what it means to blame someone for whatever happened to you in the past versus, oh, I'm taking care of a responsibility because I'm tired of trying to find a bad one in this situation. I just need to figure out my life.
Yeah. What I was about to say that uh, that when you said why a lot of the people after the meet the twin flame, their life goes to poop. Well, when you wake up, you haven't lived real reality to yourself, and you figure out this, I will call it matrix situations within you. You find out that huge portion of you, which is your soul and spirit, never been in love for it, and now you feel the energies and you feel everything else, and it's like half of yourself didn't have a life at all. And you look at your life in there, your materialistic life based of the society and so on. Of course, your life is going to go to poop. That life was based of expectations, false reality, and so on and so on. And now you're about to learn the real reality, and then you build that right. But you don't have to blame or shame or anything like this. The journey itself or the person itself doesn't help anybody there. So that's all I have to say. And what else we have here? I have been green for
Oh,
15
Irina,
years
I
as
wanted
an
to go back a little
oh,
bit. Sorry, baby. I
yeah, go
wanted to
ahead.
go back. Irina commented, I've been grieving for 15 years. It doesn't go away. Looks to me that it is something that means maybe stuck in the grief, like you haven't processed. Did you go really really deep into your traumas? Like, did you believe maybe there's something that you overlooked and you just still keeping yourself in this illusionary state, because normally it shouldn't take that long. You should be able to move on with your life and see, okay, this is not serving me. So just a comment there.
Mhm.
um, and then Karen said that the journey is a beautiful gift after you started and understand what's going on. So that's how we were talking. It's just you have to give yourself time without judging what's coming to you. Just learn this trust, and just changes are necessary. Like otherwise, like you would just stay forever and ever in this same situation, things that are not working.
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly. Grande cannot ignore that all the cult has been received by people with open arms. They chant and call upon various gods. Oh boy, this is kind of like a open up the can of worms with that.
No, but occult is not a bad. Like it has a bad connotation in the past. I didn't like to this word. I thought it's some kind of, oh my god, black magic. But occult is just secret knowledge that we are getting along the journey. And those information will be finding you, and it's not up to
Yeah.
of course, like you will be using discernment to see, did those people went too far? Did they lose it? at some point, because there is various informations about how people saw this spiritual world, and those information will be coming to you, but you have to learn to discern like what feels right to you and what feels too much, like, oh my god. They lost it at some point.
Yeah, some people chanted and so on and upon and so on and so on, but just kind of like a little comment in here on this for it. Where are you gonna put you on all this? When are you gonna study you? A lot of the people does things, they go pray an outside source. Oh, I had some conversations up here. It's like, can I pray to the angels or can I? You don't pray to the angels, you pray to God. God sends you the angels, isn't there for it? And look at yourself what to know this for is about look inside of you. There is something inside of you called spirit. Call upon that spirit within yourself and ask him about it, what's going on. Because that spirit will empower your soul. And when power is here at your soul, you know what to pray for it, you know what to do for it, you know what's going on in there. And then that it's going to be actually even open up more within this secret learnings in there. You're going to be go beyond this. There is a certain things you don't know, and guess what happens? All of a sudden you know. How do you know? Who told you? It's your spirit. It's the universal spirit that lives with all of us. He gives you glimpses. He gives you just these little tiny guidances in there for it. Well, most people don't listen to that. Most people don't, but they should, right? And that's what the journey does. Makes you better. Yeah, exactly. Lorna, allow it to motivate you. Would you allow your spirit to motivate you? The beautiful power in there. Hi, Queen Master. Glad to see you here. Thank you for coming in. All right. So, guys, if you have some any more questions, let us know. If you want us something to talk about it, you can request it even through the channels in there here on the YouTube, or you can write us in emails. Grande, no, you don't have to say sorry for bringing it up. You better, I ask to some of the people, you better ask them questions instead of making them mistake. There is nothing about that. As long as you are not like people explaining, you keep doing the same thing over and over, and so on and so on. And we have some people that have been coming in, they ask for the same thing over and over and over and over and over. That says something right there within for it. But you should not feel sorry for it. You should bring that up in here. There's gotta
Well,
be
I think this
wisdom.
is just a good example, just to learn not to be judgmental, because you will be dealing with different people. Some people will be saying that they believe in angels, some people they believe in whatever, some star seeds and anything that resonates with them. And then if you engage with them without this prejudgment, you can just stay open and say, okay, that's how they perceive source. It's good. It gives me some other perspective. Even studying the gods, those are just the expressions of different energies. So I think it's always useful along this path just to stay as open as possible, unless something really, really feels low and dark. Because I realize sometimes when we are just reading about some things, it feels like, oh, you don't want to go there. It's just maybe you're not ready for it. Maybe it's right now your mindset is not strong enough for whatever reason. But if it feels like safe and kind of interesting, I think put down your prejudgments or maybe some belief systems that you had from the past, and just seeing those informations from the other perspective, because sometimes those informations are coming to you to give you better understanding from different perspective. Yeah.
Mm.
So thanks for bringing it up. I like those kinds of questions because it helps to clarify things, and it always something nice comes from it.
Hmm.
We have one last question, I guess.
Yeah. Do you think it's weird to ignore other relationship for waiting for a twin flame? If you have nothing to do with that person you call twin flame or you're in that engagement, you don't have 3D communications, you don't do collective, work, you're not working together on whatever the journey is for it. You don't have communications, no relationship. You're waiting for something that doesn't make sense. And the universe brings you something else to be in a relationship. We already, with Paulina, recognized this long time ago.
No, we wouldn't be here talking to you guys if we didn't decide, okay, I'm tired of waiting. Maybe that's something that the universe planned for us. Maybe 10 years, 15 years, 20 years down the road, but how much progress you can do on your own, because you have to ask yourself why you decide to wait. Like, do you consider it something bad that you're not supposed to see other people? But imagine, like, you still have things to heal. So if you decide just to stop and just hang around waiting for something that may happen, I don't know, you're just taking from yourself this opportunity to grow even more. So it's our choices. It's like you can decide to wait, you can decide, but it's just something that is not certain. So one thing is that it's certain is like if you want to evolve, you can make it fast, and there will be people to help you with that.
So to go back to the title, and I want to give you something, guys, personal perspective. Catch yourself when you're beginning to blame your twin flame. Continue. What is that unhealed pattern comes in? What is that coming? Look deeply within yourself. When you begin to feel those energies in there, go deeply to your own roots. Where is that coming from? Consciousness, subconsciousness, um, broken patterns or broken promises or broken relationships from before in your past. Look at it. What is that root cause in there? Your twin flame has nothing to do with that. Okay. You see, you choose to understand instead of blame. You choose to figure out things out in there for it. Because otherwise, you're going to be acting like a little child that one of the parents says no, and you begin to acting like that. When your twin flame says no, they have reasons for it. Are you going to choose to understanding there, or are you choosing to blame? It's the same way. You should, as Paulina said, you should not blame your parents for certain things. It's your responsibility to outgrow if even there was something in there. But don't blame. Don't blame nobody. Look deep inside of you. That's going to help you to heal. And there. So that's what I have. Kind of like
Mhm.
just a few words
Yeah,
for
I
you
think
guys.
it summarizes nicely. And even with this blaming, don't even blame yourself. Like that's not the proper way. We all make mistakes, and it's just whatever you've done that came to you, you did the choice, you made the decision. But there's always a way to fix things. So, and that was a good discussion. Thanks for all the questions and all the suggestions. Mm.
Thank you guys, and let's share the love and the light, and we'll see you soon. Okay. Thank you
Mm.
for being here. Be love, guys. Let's share some gifts here.